very guilty about killing everyone in Ann Arbor. So in order to feel like I've been forgiven by the rest of the world, I would probably accept some sort of consequence just so I wouldn't have to live with the burden of being a murderer for the rest of my life. So I would try to eliminate the guilt by accepting consequences from society.
I would feel guilty about like letting people die because you're still killing people, but I think that it had to happen. So
you wouldn't accept consequences?
I would not accept the consequences.
I would not feel guilty if I had to quarantine Ann Arbor because I don't look at it through an emotional standpoint. I look at it through a logical standpoint, and logically it'd be better to just kill one city than to kill like the entire world. So I would not feel guilty because it's what I had to do.
I don't think I'd feel guilty about it. I'd feel really good about myself because if we sacrificed the city of Ann Arbor, it would be really bad to do that, but we'd be saving the rest of the world.
Okay, I would feel really guilty because you're still taking human lives, but I wouldn't want consequences because at the same time it's taking, 25,000 lives instead of how many people are in the world? As many people as are in the world, so that's my opinion.
I don't like consequences.
I would serve jail time, I think, to alleviate the guilt I would have for doing that, and I would want to do it in a way that let others know that I was responsible for my actions, and that I took full agency over what I did.
I would quarantine everyone because it has to be done, but I would feel guilty about it because it's essentially my fault that people are. I would feel like I was killing people almost, but I wouldn't want to be punished because I didn't really have any choice. Because if you don't quarantine everybody else dies. So it had to be done. I don't want any consequences.
I wouldn't accept the consequences because it is something necessary to be done because then the rest of the world is saved, whereas if it wasn't done then everyone would be dead and then there wouldn't really be anything to feel guilty about because we'd all be dead. So really the world is saved. Yeah, okay.
Really bad about it, but I wouldn't accept the consequences because it had to be done.
I wouldn't feel guilty because you have to do what's necessary for the greater good of people. So.
I feel super guilty, but it had to be done, so I wouldn't want consequences.
You gotta do what you gotta do, and to save other people, you gotta sacrifice some people.
If I had to quarantine all the people in Ann Arbor, all the student body, I would feel terribly guilty, but it's something that had to be done, so there's nothing I can do about it.
I would accept the consequences because I would feel really guilty about everyone dying, and that was my fault.
I would feel guilty, but still do it, but wouldn't want any consequences because I was asked to do it and I had to do it, and it had to be done.
I would feel guilty, but not criminally responsible because it was a necessary tragedy to ensure the savings of more lives than those lost.
I would feel really guilty about killing all the people in Ann Arbor, but I would not accept consequences, and I would be okay with killing them because it's the right thing to do in the end, since it would save everyone else in the world.
But would you feel guilty?
Yes, I would feel guilty killing them.
Honestly, after you make a decision like that, you're going to have to rationalize it to the point where you don't feel guilty in order to live your life.
I accept consequences because I'd feel really guilty and want my conscience to be clear.
We need some consequences for an action which kills some people. You need to keep yourself pure conscience because you can't honestly keep that on your mind for the rest of your life. It's simply impossible.
So you would want to have consequences for your actions?
Yeah, of course.
I would choose to accept the consequences and get punished for my actions because I don't think it's right to kill anyone under any circumstance, and if you do, regardless of the situation you're in, you should be punished for it, and I don't think I could possibly live with lifetime guilt. According to Walzer, there are 3 classifications for dirty hands. Those who have neoclassical mindset think that successful ends are more important than the moral grounds you cross. If you do succeed, your dirty hands will be washed. If you fail, you still have dirty hands. There is no guilt associated with this classification. The Protestant belief is that you have to sacrifice yourself to help others. However, once you sin, you will always remain flawed, and the only way to redeem yourself is to live with a crippling guilt your entire life. The Catholic belief is that you can be redeemed for your sins. By accepting consequences for your actions, you are essentially given a second chance at forgiveness, and it eliminates your guilty conscience. Clearly, Walzer's methods are still relevant today, as shown by the students of Markley.